Okay. I am going to attempt to answer all of the comments in my comments section today. Let's go. Welcome to Home Studio Quickies, the show where I answer a question that's either recent or relevant and will hopefully be helpful in the answering of said question. Now, maybe all the comments in this one video is a bit ambitious, but we'll see how far we get today. Thanks for showing the interface in action. I think this is exactly how it should be done. You should show the interface in action, and that's why my videos are constructed the way they are. You have the interface, and you have my face so you can see me interacting with it. I think it's important to have that human element in there, because otherwise you're just watching knobs and sliders and buttons move on a screen. And then I've now incorporated a top-down view. I did have a view of my hands before, but now I have a top-down view of my hands, so you can see my face, my hands, and the interface all interacting at once. Pristine. I think that's a way to do it. There's a way to have this plugin for free. Unfortunately, no, you cannot have the Session Guitarist Strummed Acoustic for free. It does run $100 for purchase, $99, but let's call it what it is, basically $100. Right now, during Summer of Sound, they're selling it for $39.60, so it's roughly 50-ish% off just for the summer, and then it'll go back to $99, but it is not free. Native Instruments Maverick Piano sounds better with screen keyboard than when I use my keyboard MIDI. My keyboard, Korg Extreme, as MIDI device is softer, lifeless than the keyboard shown on the Maverick display. Also, looking on here, I see you have the settings over on the right side. So why does it not have this on my BandLab Cakewalk? NI support is totally useless, and I can never get a real person anymore, just an Autobot that can't respond right. For what I've spent at NI, I should have just purchased a Nord and been done with it. Way easier to understand and use. Chaz of Jazz. Ooh, okay, well, we'll start with the first part. The piano sounds better with screen keyboard than when I use my keyboard MIDI. Now, there is an on-screen keyboard with a Maverick, but it has very little bearing on what it sounds like unless you are playing the keys by clicking them with your mouse, like this. Now for me, I have here the Mo XF8, and yeah, it sounds softer when I play like this, as opposed to when I click here. Now, if you're doing music that's sort of more of a house or electronic dance music, this is going to sound a little weak. You would have to press harder. But maybe your Korg Triton isn't doing that, and so you might be able to go over to the anatomy and say, I want a harder velocity curve. By default, it's on linear. And we could just say, I want the hard velocity. So let's go like this. Or you could go hardest, so that's a terrible example, but you get the idea. If you can adjust the velocity curves, that may help. As far as my settings being on the right side, I looked through my whole video. I don't see any settings on the right side except for the reverb. So this is contact 8, but if I close the pane here, it will look just like contact 7, more or less, minus the header. Let's bring back the instrument header. There we go. Over here on the right is space. And that's like your reverb and stuff. So Okay, there's space. Everything else, though, is kind of on the... Now, and as my screen capture is set up right now, this is kind of on the left of the screen, and I may have had it more centered, but yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by that, unfortunately. So, why is it not this way on BandLab Cakewalk? Well, I'm using Reaper, so display may be a little bit different, though the interface of Maverick is the interface of Maverick. It doesn't really change that much based on what you're in. Now that the window around it might be different, but the interface stays pretty much the same. As far as native instrument support, I can't really comment on that. I haven't really needed anything from them, so I'm sorry you've had a bad experience with them, and glad that you feel you can come and vent in the comment sections. I don't represent Native Instruments. I'm not sponsored by them. Sorry you've had nothing but trouble with NI support. I'm not associated with them other than being a user, but that really sucks. I sympathize with your pain. Would anyone prefer this over Garritan CFX Lite or Addictive Keys? Once again, this is one of those things that really depends on what you're trying to do and what sounds you need for that. Some people might like... The 88 Ensemble has kind of a growl in the bass, which I loved. The bass growls on the top it's like clear and... I don't want to say punchy, maybe crispy. It punches through. It's very, very clear. The Garritan CFX Lite will have a different quality. That's sampled from a Yamaha CFX piano. The 88 Ensemble was a Steinway piano. I forget which Steinway it was. It's been so long, and I no longer have that instrument. Addictive Keys is also its own thing, so if you prefer that sound, by all means, choose that. And someone will always prefer one over the other. JHC, if you talked any slower, you'd go back in time. I know, I am aging in reverse. Don't be giving my secrets away like that. What are the octave buttons? Can someone explain it to me? Now here the comment section came to the rescue. They said, if you press the plus button, it will move the pitch of your middle C up one octave, so it will end up playing the note of the C one octave higher, and vice versa for the minus octave button. It allows you to play higher and lower octave notes while still playing the same keys. It's made to allow people without full 88 key keyboards to be able to play all the same notes. Yes, indeed, that is the purpose of it, and you can do it anyway if you have 88 keys. Very bad explanation, didn't explain very well. There are two connections and you only connect one time. Okay. I remember not much about this video, but I do remember connecting everything that was necessary for it to work because I actually did a playback in the video. So if it was too dark to see, I did shine a light on it. I don't know, man. Lazy. Okay. I talked slower back then, but lazy? Okay. The belt run to idler pulley. You put on the wrong side of belt tenor. See, before I ended up focusing more on home studio stuff and that, I was doing mechanical stuff like trimmer repair. I have an oil change video up there as well. But yeah, I could have put it on the wrong side. It didn't work very well after that, and we had to take it to the shop and have another repair made, but you know, it is what it is. Does it have built-in sounds? No, it does not. Controllers do not have built-in sounds, and my comment section agrees. 3 fire emojis. That was a fun project. I think some of my harmonies were a little bit... They could have been better, but that was a fun project. I'm only hearing vocals on one side of the headphone, but other audio in both. Can someone explain why? And someone did. Several someones. And they say, because the audio is a mono signal going through a stereo channel. On my 2i4, a stereo mono switch. If you have one, switch it over. Someone else says, I'm hearing the same left only. I need help, anyone. Set your tracks to mono, then input left or input 1. You probably have yours set as L and R. Now, to my knowledge, Adobe Audition is the only DAW that can, I'm going to say, fake a stereo signal from a mono input. If you have it recorded in stereo, it will have 2 waveforms, and I think it does it by volume adjustment. Like one will be slightly louder than the other. But all the others, if you put it to stereo recording and you have only one microphone plugged in, like I do currently, it's going to be left-sided. So even in OBS, which is not a DAW, I had to switch my microphone channel to mono so that you can hear me out of both ears right now. If it's particularly noticeable if you're listening in headphones. But yeah, you switch it to mono should help. 5% of that was information. You mean 5% was the information you were looking for? Aha. Keys are way too noisy. Well, since the Keystation is controlling virtual instruments and you're not actually recording any sound from it, you're not going to hear the keys in any of the recordings, unless, of course, you have a vocal mic over top of it and you're singing. So probably use a dynamic mic like an SM58, and you'll have less of that than you would with a condenser. Ice JJ featuring, I'm just seeing this comment this year, so that is... I think it's interesting they're calling me Ice JJ instead of, I guess, like Ice T and Ice Cube. It is me featuring me. This was a song that I started work on and never finished because I'm that slow with some of my songs. You'll never get the full sound with those. True. However, they were much better than PC speakers. As another commenter says, not as good as using monitors, but those go for around $200 and perform on a completely different level to PC speakers. True, they have both high-frequency speakers and a subwoofer. What they are missing is, in fact, in the mid-range, which is why I now have JBL LSR 305s, and I've had them for the past 9 years or so. I got them in 2017, so it's 2025. I've had them a long time. Alrighty, that's all for today. Thanks for joining me. Stay curious.